has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. Hour number 2 on a pain-free Friday. A couple of things we want to go through here. A, get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android in the Play Store. It's free. You're going to love it. It's incredible. You can watch the network on the app, listen to the network on the app. It's got the TV side, the radio side. It's got all the stories, highlights, in-game odds, you name it. Follow your favorite hosts like Carver High. You're good to go with the SportsGrid app. Everybody's doing it. They just won't admit it. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Also, did you know we're streaming on X? Just go to SportsGrid-Live, and you can watch us streaming on X 7 days per 365, baby. 3, get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on the Bench podcasts on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. The C2C podcast is the full 3 hours. The Ferrall on the Bench is a short rip-through sports that I think you'll dig. And 4, next week is Christmas week. We'll be on, Carver High and I, Christmas Eve, Tuesday, normal, 3 to 6. Wednesday, no show on Christmas Day. And then Thursday, I'm doing the show with my boy Blue. Mike Blewett from 3 to 6. And then Friday, Carver High back in the saddle with me, 3 to 6. So there you go. That's everything you need to know as we kick into gear this next hour talking about the Jets. I will say this, that article that you sent me about Woody Johnson, absolutely surreal. Absolutely surreal. I can't even believe what I was looking at. You talk about dysfunctional. You talk about crazy. I mean, the Woody Johnson experience and his family, I mean, that is the most bizarre stuff I've ever seen in my life. And now you got players like Garrett Wilson doing interviews, and he's like sounding like he's ready to jump.
Well, look, Garrett Wilson is now going to be finishing up his 3rd year in the NFL. He won Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. He's played with bad quarterbacks before this year. He's had a lot of losing. So, I'm sure, you read stories like that. I'm sure some of it has happened to him as well, being involved in that organization. It kind of sounds like Garrett has just about had enough of the Jet experience and might be looking for other pastures, let's just say, in the future. Here's Garrett Wilson.
If the Jets approach you about a contract extension, would you like to stay here long term?
I don't know, man. I just figured I just do whatever, whatever, go about my day, however, be where my feet at, And if they do, that would be a blessing. That'd be awesome. I love the Jets. At the end of the day, they were the ones that believed in me. So, But yeah, I can't be worrying about all that. Just gonna finish these 3 games the right way. But I don't know, man. I can't be looking into all that right now,
Oh I don't think so. That's a no as far as I'm concerned. I think that he would look to get out. And he knows he ain't even going to be, let's say they do bring the band back together next year. He ain't going to be top dog if it's Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers again for a full season. He's secondary. He's second cut if that's the case.
Yeah.
He ain't the man. And he'd be the man in a lot of places. He'd be the man. But
he's
that as long as
and they don't
he's a
utilize
badass.
him. They don't utilize him.
The numbers are kind of there. I was looking. It's kind of equal to what he's done the last 2 years, and he's still got 3 games to go. But I feel like there could be more. Like I feel like he has the ability to put up the type of stuff that we see. Maybe not as Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type stuff, but maybe a cut below that. Like I feel like he could be in that realm. He's got that kind of
really
talent.
Good. He's really good, but he doesn't look really good on this team. They don't give him the rock enough. It's the same thing with Neighbors and the Giants. You think that they would be smart enough to just give him the ball, and they don't do it. Not enough.
Don't do it. Long trip for the Rams on Sunday. They'll go cross country for the early 1 o'clock kick in Jersey at MetLife. Rams -3. They, of course, lead the NFC West right now, so they need to keep winning. 46.5 the total.
I thought the Jets played their best game of the season last week. And, maybe they have confidence, but I think the Rams are just on fire. They've won 7 of 9. They just keep winning. They're in this playoff picture big time. The Jets aren't. I think the Rams will come in and beat them.
I think the Rams are going to win.
Though. I'll say this. It's going to be freezing ass. It is literally going to be in the teens. That may screw the Rams. And look, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Sharps are on the Jets based on freezing cold, and they look good last week. And the Rams are coming into this weather. Are you kidding me? They're not going to know what hit them.
I got to tell you, I like the under. I think the number's a little too high. It's 46.5. It's going to be really cold out there. I think it's going to be more of a low-scoring type of game this week between the Rams and the Jets. So I like that under with those two. Next, we've talked a lot about Mike Evans and all of his accomplishments and how much he needs to get that 11th straight 1,000-yard season. Let's also mix in the Bucs are trying to win the NFC South here over the last few weeks. Mike Evans does not like to talk about his accomplishments, but Baker Mayfield has no problem doing that whatsoever. In fact, he even admits it. I think I care more about his records than he does.
I'm thinking about it more than Mike is. He helped himself out, though. Put a little chunk into it. But, yeah, it's all in all, winning's the most important part. But he's a huge part of this offense. And so he makes a huge difference in, the explosive aspect of this offense. So trying to get the ball some way, somehow, but not forcing it. That's not what this offense is all about. Still need to let the defense dictate where the ball is going to go based on coverage and what they're doing. But, still moving Mike around. He's still our number one guy. And, if it happens, it happens. If not, we'll see.
Nobody wants to be the quarterback that ends the streak, though.
No, not at all.
I don't believe that. He knows it's going to happen. There's not going to be any not happening. Let me tell you something. This guy is such a stud now. It just shows me how he was on an island playing in Cleveland. By himself, he had no talent whatsoever around him. Now look at him playing with Mike Evans. You can't stop Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is now a badass. And he's always been a gamer and a player and a baller. And now he's like a leader, too. Like, he sounds so confident in who he is, where he is. He's the starter, got $100 million. He's like, got it all going and figured out nice and juicy. Meanwhile, the Browns are bleeding to death. Baker Mayfield's laughing all the way to the bank, and he throws to Mike Evans every Sunday. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's a nice thing to have. They are in Dallas Sunday night. This is the night game, -3.5 for the Bucs. On the road in primetime, 48.5 is the number here.
Honestly, I'll keel over if they don't beat the Cowboys' ass. I'll keel over if they don't. I mean, they should win that game by 10 or more. They're better. They're flat out better. Hands down better. There's no way they're stopping them.
I agree with you. I like the over in this game, and I think that Tampa's going to take care of business and win by 7+ points. Right about in that area. Touchdown more win for the Bucs this week. And I did want to look. Mike Evans for a hundo. Let's say a hundo this week. 100 yards. Plus 178 for a 100-yard game from Mike Evans this week.
100 yards.
Plus
he can have 100 yards by halftime.
Let's go for it then. Plus 178 for the 100-yard game for Mike Evans.
Mike Evans
take another
getting 100 yards against the crappy Cowboys with no secondary.
Take another big chunk out of that number with 2 weeks to go. Let's have Mike do that.
He's going to have 165 yards in that game, guaranteed. He is going to light them up, and it's on national television in prime time, so he knows. And he's the most mellow guy in the world. He's like Mr. Charity with his wife. He's got his charity that he does for kids and education. He doesn't even care about the limelight, except when he knows he's such a badass that he's going to break this record.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Fans clamor for Dr. Zhivago every Friday on Ferrall Coast to Coast. Here he is, Dr. David Chow, of course, from SixScore.com, Sports Injury Central in San Diego. You can follow him on X at Pro Football Doc. All right, Doc, Merry Christmas. They were saying that Montgomery was going to have knee surgery and he was done for the season. What happened between then and now where they're saying that he's going to rehab and still try to play?
I'm not 100% sure, Scott, but this is why I don't delete tweets. From the war room, we said it didn't look serious. It was an MCL, no surgery. Then we were surprised when the announcement of surgery came out at end of season, and now it's reverted back. Our information never changed because all we had to go on was the video of the injury, and for us, it wasn't season ending. So let's hope for the Lions' sake and David Montgomery's sake, he can indeed come back.
Do you expect him to be effective with that knee injury? Let's say, he tore it and he's going to try to play football. I'm not buying it.
Well, it depends on when. I have a lot more faith in David Montgomery being able to come back and be effective than Aiden Hutchinson coming back and being effective. I do think Alex Anzalone is going to come back from his arm fracture and play. Carlton Davis might. But the Lions right now are beat up. Their goal is to get healthier because, they're in the playoffs. They know that. So they just got to get healthier for the playoffs.
Hutchinson, with the leg fracture and everything, expects to be able to play if they make the Super Bowl. I have a hard time believing he'll be effective off of that injury in the Super Bowl or any other game for that matter.
Well, I think he can be quite effective for the game in 2025, but it'll be a regular season game 2025, not a playoff or Super Bowl game 2025. I am with you. It's one thing to be functional back and running. It's another to get around the edge. Look, a tenth of a second difference getting around the edge means you're a guy on the bench versus a Pro Bowler, right? I mean, and it's just not realistic to think that he can make it. But at least Montgomery maybe has a chance. We'll see.
All right, let's talk about Mahomes. How did he go from a high ankle sprain to practicing fully this week? And he's going to go tomorrow.
Well, I've said it for a while. And I hope I'm not dating myself, he's Gumby, like that cartoon character, stretchable and made out of clay. In all seriousness, his collagen is built differently. This is why his arm is a slingshot. You remember when he dislocated his kneecap, never had surgery because nothing tore. Things just stretched. Now, this is not the first time. In 2022, in the playoffs against Jacksonville, divisional round, he had a high ankle sprain, finished the game, played the next week in the conference championships, and then won the Super Bowl against the Eagles in 2023. And he says this high ankle is not as bad as the one in 2022. So we called it a high ankle from the war room here, and we thought if it were as bad as 2022, Andy Reid might sit him to get him healthy for the playoffs, but he looks like a go.
Nelson Aguilar is out. Will Rashad Bateman be okay for the Ravens tomorrow, or are they going to be having to throw to tight ends all day against the Steelers?
Well, the good news is they got some pretty good tight ends, right, between Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. But here's the thing. Aguilar's out for concussion. Rashad Bateman got in a limited practice. But it is hard to go from a boot midweek to playing on Saturday, not even Sunday. But this is an all-hands-on-deck game for both sides. The Ravens will take over first place based on tiebreaker if they can win, and the Steelers clinch the division with a win. So, it's big for both sides.
What's the Bills' health grade going into the game against the Pats?
Well, they've got some defensive issues, and that's what you're referring to there, Scott. Matt Milano with the groin, the sideline-to-sideline guy. Taylor Rapp, with what we think is more of a stinger-type issue that's recurring. They have DeMar Hamlin with some issues. So there are some issues up the middle for the Buffalo Bills at linebacker and in the secondary.
So Burrow and Higgins a little banged up, coming off of last week's game, missed some practice time. Can fantasy owners depend on them in their playoffs tomorrow, or should they go with someone else?
Well, if you have Joe Burrow and you're in the playoffs and you have someone else that you could put in for Joe Burrow, then you have one heck of a fantasy football team, right? I mean, I think you have to ride the horse that got you there. I mean, I wouldn't have had that embarrassment of riches in my fantasy, Joe Burrow and someone else that good. So, no, I think you can trust Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Look, you got to go with the one that got you to the dance, et cetera, and I would trust them both at this point in time. And the Bengals are in the catbird seat. They basically almost control their own destiny, almost, to make the playoffs.
They got to win out, and if they win out, they can make the playoffs. Hollywood Brown's going to go tomorrow. I don't think it's that big of a story. We already know he's going to play. The Dolphins, Tua, Hill, and Waddle all on the sidelines this week in practice. What's their sixth score?
Well, we don't think Waddle's going to play. He's got an MCL. Hill should play through. They're still in the playoffs, and Tua should play through. They're about 90s. Waddle's at about 50. He's not playing through. And Marquise Brown, his shoulder as SC joint is 100% fine. It's just acclimation because this is his first game of the season.
Kamara, should he be shut down, and will Valdez-Scantling play Monday night?
Well, it's a Monday game, so MVS is still trying to play. Look, if the Saints are out of it, Kamara will get shut down. He is not playing on Monday with the groin. And if the Saints are mathematically eliminated, and they're close to that, he will end up having to shut it down.
The Bucs have a bunch of guys that didn't practice this week, including 4 safeties. Who's out? Who's in for the Bucs?
Well, the 2 starting safeties are out. The 2 backup safeties have a chance. That's where the Bucs are with Baker Mayfield. So in that Tampa game with Baker and his weapons, maybe there's a high-scoring game on both sides of the ball.
Will Pollard play for the Titans, or will Spears see increased workload, and will Folk be there to kick for them?
We're talking kickers. This is awesome. Yes. The Folk can't be there to kick. But the thing with kickers is if you're not 100%, they don't want to use you because there's no backup. You really need to be 100%. Pollard's pattern's been playing through the ankle. He's been DMP, a lot of DMPs, and always played through on Sunday. He seems to do the same here.
All right, Doc, Merry Christmas, buddy.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. If he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So I know you have some kind of footage of Jonathan Taylor talking about redeeming himself, and I say it's too late for that.
Well, yeah, it's probably too late for him. Of course, he had one of the bonehead plays this year as he dropped the football going across the goal line last week in Denver. Really changed the game for the Colts as they ended up losing that one. All Taylor could do, Scotty, is forget the past and look to the future.
If you ask for this, if this is what you work for, then you got to take the highs and the lows. And, I talked to my dad, and one thing that I mentioned was that, you can't answer the phone for a call that happened yesterday. You can only pick up the next time. So you got to be ready for that next opportunity. You got to make sure that you learn, hey, I missed that call the last time, but, I won't miss it again.
Yeah, listen,
you can't answer the phone for a call you missed yesterday. You can only pick up the phone the next time. Words of wisdom from Jonathan Taylor.
They were up 14 with that touchdown that he dropped the ball before he got into the end zone. They never scored again. So that was the end of them. Thank you for getting the Steelers in the playoffs, though, Jonathan. Appreciate it.
Not one of the more high-profile games of the weekend, but the Titans are in Indy against the Colts this week. If you're so interested, the Colts are minus 3.5, and the total's 42.5.
Like, this one, to me, is literally just easy money. It's got to be the Colts at home. It's got to be. They absolutely cannot afford to lose. They're desperate for a win. They're at home, and they're against one of the worst teams unequivocally in the league. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is playing quarterback. I think that the Colts can beat them in Indy. I don't care. I like Mason, but they're dead meat in this game. I can't believe it's 3.5. I thought it'd be like 6 at least.
Yeah, it's kind of short, but I'll take the Colts with you in that one. Arizona is still alive in the NFC West. They're one game back at 7-7. They are in Carolina this week to take on the Panthers. Going to be cold in Carolina on Sunday. Of course, the team out in Arizona not very used to that. So let's see what Kyler Murray thinks about the weather.
No, I've played in cold weather before. It's not, I don't know how cold it's supposed to be.
Like 35.
Yeah.
That's a little cold. -4.5 for Arizona on the road. Big total, 47.5 for these two.
Yeah, I think that, look, Charlotte and 35 degrees, that's like, I'd be in a sweatshirt. It's just not that cold. Let's calm down here. The fact of the matter is that when they're at home and they are getting points, or even on the road, when they're getting points, Carolina has been in every game and has covered. And I bet on them 3 weeks in a row and cashed 3 tickets in a row. And then the 4th week they were favored, and I took the Cowboys and cashed again because I said they can't cover as a favorite. They haven't been a favorite in 33 games. Now they're back to being a dog. I'll take the 4.5 with Carolina against Arizona. Arizona wins, they don't cover.
Yeah, they've been sneaky as a dog, that's for sure. And we would rather have them in that spot as opposed to last week where they were laying points. Miami will be home this week as San Francisco makes the trip to Miami. Here is Tua, wants Miami to finish strong with a winning record.
Finishing with a winning record for me, for sure, is always something that I want to do. But it's also something that we're trying to do collectively as a team to try to finish the season out the way we said we wanted to. We're not rolling over, we're not laying down, and we're gonna put our best football out there, and that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it is amazing to me. It really is now. Look, I like him against the Niners. I think the Niners are finished, but I think that it's amazing to me how little success they have in Miami with the Dolphins. I mean, let's just face facts. They go to the playoffs, didn't they go to the playoffs like last year or something like that? They
last
lost.
2 years.
They lost. All they do is lose. It is amazing to me how little they matter in the NFL in the grand scheme of things. Think about it. They have Reek, they got this guy, they got Waddle, they got all these guys, and they still don't matter. They don't matter. I don't care about it. We want to finish with a winning record. You're not going to the postseason. You don't matter.
Yeah, they have not won a playoff game since 2000. 24 years was the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game.
Does that not
24
just
years.
wrap it all up in a big with a bow? They don't matter.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text, put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I never stiff anybody. He texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
kick off the second half on a pain-free Friday here, Carver High, and we're still talking pain day, NFL skinny. It looks like the Niners have so many injury problems. Now another running back down for the count.
Yes, Isaac Orlando, that's now official. They just announced that he's out on Sunday for this trip to Miami for the Niners. Trent Williams is out as well. Dolphins minus 1.5 is the number with a 44.5 total down at Hard Rock.
Yeah, this is dangerous and risky, but I think the Niners are so awful this year. Like, for me, like, they just have been anemic. I'm going Dolphins here. And I know that's scary, that 1.5, whatever. It's like, wow, they're favored? How are they favored? Like, the Niners are better than the Dolphins, hands down, but not this version of the Niners. They're all banged up. All their star players are out. They have so many injuries, it's not even funny. And the Dolphins can't get out of their own way, but I'll take Miami.
I'm going to go with you with Miami here on Sunday. I think that they'll beat the Niners. Have mailed it in. They're finished. At least some guys on the Dolphins are talking about, finishing over 500. Doing the Niners are. It's vacation time. It's glad bag time for them. The Eagles will be in Washington against the Commanders. Of course, they can win the NFC East on Sunday. They've won 10 in a row. They're 3.5-point favorites. 45.5 will be the total in this one.
I don't know why everyone thinks this is so automatic. I think Jaden Daniels is going to give them problems. McLaurin, I like the 3.5 points with Washington. I told you that this week. I respect the Eagles. I don't know how many times I've said I think they'll win the NFC, but that doesn't mean Sunday. They're not winning it Sunday. They're not winning the NFC Championship Sunday, so they still got to deal with this guy, and they're playing at the Dump in Landover. That number, that hook, that's all I need to know. Like, to me, that's glaring. If, they've won 10 in a row and they're only favored by 3.5 over this team, honestly. Now, look, they've already got, 9 wins? Washington, they can play. So let's get a good game in the East. Why not?
Why not? There's not that many games this weekend, or at least on Sunday, I should say, with two good teams playing each other. So hopefully Eagles and Washington can give us a good game in the 1 o'clock window. Next, Cleveland and Cincinnati. Everyone always loves the Battle of Ohio. Steeler and Raven fans love it more this year because both teams suck. Now, I know people have been running around all day with the Broncos losing last night with all their huge scenarios about the Bengals winning their last 3 games and Denver losing their last 2 games and all these stars aligning for the Bengals to make the playoffs and be the 7th seed. You could talk to me about that if they have a chance to last week. Get to the last week, and we'll see if they're still alive. 8.5 against the Browns, who are going to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. 46.5 is the total.
I mean, that's a gigantic number when Burrow has had nothing but problems against this team, right? This is his elixir. This guy's kryptonite is the Browns, right? Has he not had nothing but disastrous games against the Browns? 8.5. Yep. Robinson playing, getting his shot. Is it enough? 8.5 points? I think the Bengals win the game, but I don't think they win by more than 7.
Yeah, I think they do as well in this game. The Browns suck. And as much as Jameis gives the ball to the other team, I think, yes, you're not going to turn the ball over as much because he's not in there, but you're also not going to score as much because he's not in there. So I just don't think that it's going to work out for them very well. And the Bengals, as we know, score tons of points with Burrow and Chase, and they will this week too. Vikings are in Seattle against the Seahawks. This is a late window kick, 4:05 East. Vikings, of course, 12-2. Seahawks 8-6, tied for the lead in the NFC West. Vikings road favorites, -3 in Seattle, 42.5 total.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game because Seattle really is about to screw this up in the West if they lose. And I think they are going to lose. I think the Vikings are going to beat them at Lumen. I just think they're better, flat out. Are they going to cover 3? That's the question. I feel like this is going to be literally a 1 or a 2 point game. I really do. I feel like the Vikings find a way, but don't cover 3.
Yeah, or it's the dreaded push too. I could see happening here. It ends up being a 3-point win for them on the road. We have 2 games that are heavy lumber this week. One of them is Monday night, which we'll talk about on Monday between the Packers and the Saints. The other one is in Buffalo, late window on Sunday. Patriots and the Bills. Bills minus 14.5. 2 tutties and a hook here with a 46.5 total. Bills trying to score 30-plus points for the 9th straight game, which would be an NFL record.
Yeah, I think they do it. I think they do. I think they win this game by 3 touchdowns at least. They scored too much.
Yeah, I usually am not a fan of laying numbers this large, but I don't have a problem here. I think this is Smash City for the Bills with the Patriots on Sunday. Smash City that they are going to have. The last one I have for you, this is friends and family only. If you like these, this is a tough one to watch. The Jaguars and the Raiders, the 3-11 Jags and the 2-12 Raiders, both teams very much in the mix for the number 1 overall pick. This game's in Vegas at Allegiant, minus 1.5 for the Raiders and a 40.5 total.
Yeah, I'll take Mac Jones and the Jaguars to beat the Raiders. I think the Raiders smell.
The Raiders are so bad.
You can smell them from here. They really are bad. They have taken tanking to a whole nother level.
Now, it looks like Aiden O'Connell's going to play, if that really changes your mind on anything with the Raiders. But
I am so sick and tired of
doesn't
hearing
change
about this
mine.
ass guy from Purdue. Honest to Christ.
He stinks.
Stop.
He stinks.
Honestly.
He's no good. All right, there you go. Your schedule for Pain Day. What do we need to go with Pain Day, though? We got to get we got to get in the end zone on Pain Day as well. Here's what we are going to do this week. We'll start on Saturday. I got one Saturday tutty for you, and that is because this guy's been heating up with Russ. There's no question. There's no doubt about it. Just go look the last few weeks, and that is our boy, Freiermuth. And look, it's still with a great number. Now, it was 290 earlier. Now it's down to 2. So you got to grab sometimes these touchdowns a little bit on the early side. So 200 flat for Freiermuth tomorrow against the Ravens. We'll get him there. Terry McLaurin, I think that Washington could be down. I think they could be throwing. He scored a couple tutties last week. Plus 200 for Terry McLaurin we have up there for you. How about Trey McBride? He has caught tons of balls from Kyler Murray this year, but believe it or not, hasn't gotten in the end zone receiving. Whoa. He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. We're going to change that in Carolina on Sunday. Plus 2 bills for Trey McBride. Now, that's definitely not right, the Jefferson number. Now I know, plus 135 for Justin Jefferson. That is, of course, in the Vikings-Seahawks game. He has 3 tutties the last 2 weeks. He's heating up. And Keon Coleman for the Bills came back last week after missing 3 games with the broken hand. Had a couple of catches. Now I think we get him involved in the red zone. So Keon Coleman, which I got at plus 320, we will go and put Keon in there. So Freiermuth, McLaurin, McBride, Jefferson, and Coleman we will throw in for the tutties this weekend in the NFL.
I'm worried about Andrews. I'm worried about Zay Flowers in that game tomorrow. And I like Hopkins tomorrow with Mahomes at home at Arrowhead. I don't know what kind of price you can get on that. The whole Bills team's going to score. Every single player is going to score a touchdown for the Bills. So give me the Bills' entire roster and a Bills defensive touchdown.
Hopkins is plus 240, by the way, for the Chiefs. He's plus 240, Hopkins.
Easy money.
Easy money.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, we go to the NBA. A lot of pro rack talk here.
Yes, plenty of pro rack talk, that is for sure. Why don't we start with all the stuff from last night, because there's only a couple games tonight. Only 3 games. Let's go with the Knicks first. Of course, Karl Anthony Towns returning to Minnesota. And, man, did he ball out, Scott? He had 32 and 20, your boy Cat. And you know who else played well last night? And we've been on this guy. And I've said to you, he hasn't gotten any bad press because of Cat. He's been so good. Bridges was great for the Knicks last night. He had a really big game.
He's been playing well, for the last week and a half. Prior to that, NBA Cup and everything, when they were in it, he's been playing a lot better. He looks like the guy that they wanted, the guy that they made the move for, the guy that we saw do this regularly in years past, and certainly with the Nets. So now he looks like everything that they want. You're right. He played fantastic last night, but Towns was absolutely dominant at the target with the 32 and 20. Bro, he had a 22-22 game. I mean, this guy has been utterly fantastic for the Knicks. And Brunson and him in the pick and roll is ridiculous.
It certainly is. Why don't we check in, though, on the losing side quickly before moving on? And that's with Anthony Edwards. Let's see how he feels about Minnesota's offense right now.
Yeah, we don't have on offense. We don't have no identity. We know I'm gonna shoot a bunch of shots. We know Drew gonna shoot a bunch of shots. And that's all we know. We don't really know anything else. It's not on the coaches at all. It's on us. We out there playing, but we got to make it easier for each other. Coaches put us in great positions too, man. We just don't do it.
I was surprised how badly the Knicks kicked their ass, to be honest with you.
They really destroyed them up in Minnie. Nice job by them. The Lakers back in the win column, 113-100. They beat the Kings in Sacramento. LeBron with another record. Another record for LeBron. NBA all-time leader in minutes played as he passed Kareem last night. 57,477 minutes played. Here for him now. I know it's too much.
What's next?
I know
the assists, now the minutes. I mean, how about documentaries? He's got more than everybody else in that too.
Yeah,
I'm so done. I respect him. I think he's unbelievable. I think he's been great, fantastic career. He's insane. He's unstoppable. Michael Jordan's better.
I'm not going to dispute that whatsoever. How about the cover of the night? I know you liked the Blazers last night. They won outright at home against the Nuggets, 126-124. Was that Simons who hit the winner, Scotty? Oh, you got to be kidding me. This guy throws a pick in the end zone. Are you kidding me here? This kid on Florida. They have third and goal inside the 10, and he throws it right at him. I mean, come on. What is he doing?
It was
awful. That's called a freshman mistake right there by him. Freshman mistake, that interception for them. Spurs beat the Hawks 133-126 in overtime. The Nets, we liked them yesterday too. They won outright in Toronto against the Raps. The Bulls were getting like two tutties and a hook in Boston. They won outright, 117-108. Nice job there. And then how about the beatdown that the Grizzlies gave the Warriors last night? 144-93. They held Curry to no field goals. First time in his career he didn't make a shot, playing at least 12 minutes in a game. Draymond had a complete zero line. No points, no boards, no assists, no nothing.
Zach Edey ate him alive.
Edey did eat him up last night. And he was getting Draymond frustrated, too. I saw a clip. Draymond was yelling and screaming over on the side. He was out minus 42 for Draymond last night when he was on the floor.
What a shame. How will I ever get through the day when Curry and Green throw up donuts and they lose by 51? That was just awesome. I love it.
It was pretty cool.
The Grizzlies mean business, dude.
Clippers won outright against the Mavs. 118-95. All these outright wins by the Dogs. The Pacers won outright in Phoenix against the Suns, 120-111. So it was one of those nights, if you're an outright dog player in the NBA, you had yourself a field day last night with some money lines. The NBA, All-NBA Cup team was SGA, Giannis, Dame, Sengun, and Trae Young. Whatever, it's over. Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Marc Gasol, and Amari Stoudemire among the first-time Hall of Fame nominees. Now also, Scotty, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Mark Few, Billy Donovan, Lisa Bluter. Lots of good first-time candidates for the Hall of Fame, which when they do that, I guess that's September is when they do that, right? In Springfield at the Hall of Fame, they do that.
Players, I would say Melo and Gasol.
Melo's a lock. Melo's a lock.
You gotta put Gasol in.
Yeah, I think so.
He's one of the best international players ever play in the NBA.
I think Dwight Howard is a lock too, honestly. I think that Dwight Howard is going to be a lock. He might not be a lock first year, but I think he'll eventually get in. I'll tell you, I don't think Stoudemire's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
he's not a Hall of Fame
Scoobert
player.
and Maya Moore will get in. And
those are
how can you leave Mark Few out for what he's meant to basketball?
I don't disagree. I would not leave him out either, that's for sure. We'll come back. Only 3 games tonight in the NBA. I will give you the numbers for all 3 of those, and then we will.
Donovan in either.
Back to a couple national titles, right, at Florida. So,
Does that get you in the Hall of Fame?
Maybe you got to do a little bit more. Win something in the NBA, maybe? Can you win something in the NBA?
It's basketball Hall of Fame. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just the NBA.
But I'm saying if he did something in the NBA to go along with his college victories, maybe it would help him.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred or just worked on the side, or kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest, and we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
I remember one time, I don't know if Kenny will remember this, I said put 100 on, I think I left it on a text. Put 100 on this horse that won, and then Kenny called me back later and goes, hey, I never got the text. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, Kenny?
I would never stiff anybody. When he texted me as they're loading into the gate, maybe, like, it's too late.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was playing, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, let's hit these 3 NBA games on a pain-free Friday night.
All right, the Hornets are in Philly against the Sixers tonight. Sixers minus 13.5. 213.5 the total.
That's how bad the Hornets are, and that Philly will cover this number tonight. They'll finally beat someone.
Probably. The Bucks are in Cleveland against the Cavs. I know the Bucks, Lillard's not playing. Giannis's game time. I guess they needed to recharge after winning the NBA Cup. 9.5 now for the Cavs this is up to.
So it sounds like those guys aren't playing, so...
That's what it sounds like to me.
All the more reason to take the Bucks in the 9.
And finally, the Thunder are in Miami against the Heat. This is now Thunder minus 1.5, 217.5.
I still think they'll beat the Heat. They're going to go back to winning. They had a bad night shooting against the Bucks, and now they'll get right back to winning. They're better than the Heat. I'm not afraid of Miami, to be honest with you. The Pistons beat them the other night. I got an idea, though. Let's talk to our boy Rich Sermonello.
Hey, Scott, let's talk some college football. Going to begin with the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, the big news, Travis Hunter, two-way star, this year's Heisman winner. Love the choice. Love Ashton Genty at number 2. That was a closer vote than I thought. Here are my takeaways. First off, this is the biggest win for Coach Prime. I think it's a proof of concept that you could not only get coached by Deion Sanders and really lock into some of that NIL money, get a lot more exposure, but you could also win a Heisman Trophy. I mean, I think this is hugely effective down the road in terms of boosting his recruiting at Colorado or wherever he winds up. Other thought, look at that top 10, Scott. I was fascinated by the top 10 vote getters. What we're seeing now from Heisman vote getters is it doesn't matter where you begin or where you play. If you get it done on the field, you're going to get votes. And we saw that. Yeah, we had a true tight end in the top 10 in Tyler Warren of Penn State. We saw kids who began their careers at Sacramento State, Incarnate Word, Jackson State. They played at places like Ohio in the MAC. So this was a very diverse group of candidates. Love to see that. Quickly looking ahead to next year, we'll have a lot of time in the offseason to talk Heisman, but watch the young kids next year. Receivers like Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State, Ryan Williams at Alabama.
quarterbacks like Arch Manning at Texas, DJ Lagway at Florida. Never too early to talk Heisman Trophy. We'll be doing that before you know it. Now, we've got playoffs, and I couldn't be more excited. Friday night, ND, Indiana, Saturday, 3 guys. It's going to be spectacular for college football fans. Here are my general thoughts from a bettor's perspective, Scott. First off, look at the sites of these games. 3 of these games in the Midwest, Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State. Weather could be a factor. I like the unders in these games. I do not expect to see upsets. The under I like the most right off the bat, Friday night, Indiana at Notre Dame. ND's got a great defense, great defensive line play. What we saw out of your Hoosiers this year is that when they faced really good defenses, namely Michigan and Ohio State, that offense grinded to a halt. Those 2 games, just 35 points combined. I think this game is played in the teens for the Hoosiers. I expect ND to win something like 26-17, 27-17. Love the under. And then the other pick for this weekend, I like Tennessee getting 7.5. I've already locked in. Tennessee looks to me like a more polished version of Michigan. North-south running game, really good defensive line. That Ohio State offensive line, reshuffled, could have problems with Tennessee. Low scoring, close. I think Ohio State survives, but Tennessee is going to be really tough on Saturday.
All right, Rich, great stuff. Merry Christmas, buddy. I don't disagree with any of that. I've said to you, I think Notre Dame's going to win that game, and they're going to cover. And I said I think they can go to the national championship game against Oregon. And I'm with you with Tennessee and Rich. That's my problem is I want them to cover so badly and to win so badly. I could see them screwing that up, just because I want them to win and I want them to cover and all the rest. It has nothing to do with me. They're going to the shoe. It's not going to be easy, Mike.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. And I do think it is going to be difficult, like Rich said, for a lot of the dogs to potentially win these games over this weekend. But we will come back and start to get into all of them. I've got Signetti and Freeman. We've got some of the other coaches as well. Let's get ready for the college football playoff on Coast to Coast. Let's go.
Come on.
I'm actually not even on a side today.
Yeah.
And I'll get to that. Why are you on Texas?
I gave them a chance. Maybe not me as the overwhelming authority in college football, but entering that game on this set to you guys, I said there was one elite defense entering the matchup in Austin back to end out October. It's not the Bulldogs like it used to be. It is Texas.
College football today, only on SportsGrid.
How do you find some of this great talent that you've brought in, who are still early in their career, might not have a ton of tape on them yet?
I've been around this business, man, for almost 20 years. So a lot of these guys will tell you that I popped into a lot of gyms, sparred, or just worked on the side, or, kind of worked out, just watching. I've always loved this sport, man. I think it's the greatest. And we want to continue to put on the next up-and-coming superstars. We know we got them.
Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL and college, they don't operate on the same timelines, right? UNLV's head coach just got, the Purdue job this morning, where I imagine, right, UNC probably needs to know from Bill.
And let's say it's late December, and we see 7, 8 teams open, and none of them want Bill. Then Bill's got to make a decision. Does he want to be a college head coach?
Pro football today, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all. Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Road management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.